Yo, JD here, Tyrrell Lewis, and as you can see, back on F1 2020 as always. And today we are going to try and attempt another world record, another W in the time trial. And this time, it's not going to be the Bahrain full circuit, but it's actually going to be the short one. And of course, the layout is not exactly the same as what was used in the real Formula 1 this weekend, but I was inspired by it. I actually really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, and as usual we are just going to do the same format whenever I try and attempt the world record. So going out with the stock setup. The other circuit combination was about a 53-54 second lap time. The world record here by the leaderboard is quite difficult to see, but I feel the legit one is a 57.6. That was the highest one with no assists. There's one with 57.1, but looking at the replay, the guy or girl was using that little cheat feature where you just keep on doing the flashbacks and you just gain time. So 57.6 is the time to beat, and you can see straight away that how bad the stock setup is. The stock setup is absolutely awful in the modern cars. It's so understeered. I complain about the classic car ones, but compared to having a full-blown league racing setup, this is just like driving without a front wing, really, to be honest. And this circuit layout, I think I've probably done once in a 5-lapper, only about 5 laps worth ever, so having to learn pretty much a brand new track as well, apart from turn 1 and the last turn, or the last sector really. It's a bit of a different experience. So coming across the line, it's a 1 minute point 2, so just under 3 seconds away on what we are really aiming for. So again, just making sure I set a good lap with the stock setup, and you can see straight away, look at the time we are gaining, and this corner is a real pain in the ass. It's one where you feel like you want to carry a lot of speed into, but in reality you really don't. It's all about that exit and giving yourself the proper line into there, and this last sector you can't leave any room on the table. But you can see, as you typically would when you're learning a track and you get used to it, as I get my first invalidation, I think you just learn very quickly, and just the small subtle changes you make with the steering wheel, just adding those little changes to each corner can just make such a big difference. And going across the line, it's a 59.5, so still about 1.9 seconds away from what we're needing to be. But of course, this is without a setup. It is so understeery going through this turn 1. But I actually really enjoy this combination. It's really good. Actually, I prefer the real life one, what they did on the weekend, but this is actually quite fun to do. I might actually do a 50% social race around here or something, because it's I actually quite like the short tracks. The Silverstone short track is really fun to drive. But moving back to this, you can see we are quite considerably up now, making sure I hit the apex this time, not running too out wide, because the track limits, particularly in the last sector, are very strict. So coming into this last corner, heavier braking zone, much deeper. You need to go into that one. In real life on the weekend, they had to brake earlier because they're approaching it faster, but we do a 58.9, and I was pretty satisfied with that. But again, we're still going to continue because the track is quite short, so about 1.2 seconds away from the world record. So if I could get within a second, then I'd be very happy with that. But you can see this lap is invalidated. We're going to complete it, so this is probably going to be my fastest lap that I did with the stock setup. A 58.4 with a default setup. Was pretty satisfied with that. But now going to turn 1, really hooking up nicely. You can see about 2 tenths up going through it here, and sacrificing the entry, making sure you get a better exit, make sure the car's straight before you go on full throttle, getting on the DRS zone. 2 DRS zones on this track, coming into the very tricky left-hander. Really have to maximize this exit, running all the way onto that curb, using every inch of the track possible Now a nice sweeping line to here, missing the apex. It's really easy to kind of get caught on that curve and understeer, and you can see it's probably cost me about 0.08 of a second there. Now into the final corner. Really enjoy this final corner, making sure you kiss it, not ride it, getting a good exit, DRS sign, activate it, and going across the line is a 58.5, and that was me done for the stock setup. I was happy with that and felt ready to move on to the actual setup itself, but I still wanted a little bit more, but you can tell if you push too much there, it's just going to punish you. And yeah, that was a good sign for me that I'd done the business with the stock setup, and now I'm going to move back into leaderboards. And I'm quite happy with the time. A couple of people were quicker than me with the 58.4. I think the 58.4, 58.3, if I did it a little bit longer, I could do that. But now I'm going to load in Sam's setup, who I believe is the legit #1 here, and the setup is quite interesting. Definitely going to provide a lot more rotation than the stock one. So this is my first few laps, and again, I always like to include some raw footage, not only for league races but really for everything I do, because I think it will just give you a true realistic perspective and understanding of what it takes. And no, you're not going to improve by if you load in a different setup by half a second or a second instantly and stuff like that. It takes time really to build up your speed, and that's really what I want to show. So I'm using Sam's setup. I think I maybe changed maybe a few things just a little bit more to my preference, but you can see we're not actually gaining that much time straight away. It's really going to be probably in the corners where we're going to get time. You can see getting a lot of time in the entry, but losing out on the exit. Going to be slightly faster in the straight line with that lower wing. The stock always uses 5.6. Not really hitting the apex there, but still about 2.5 tenths up, so it's on track for a low 58. We're looking for 57.6 to get this world record. Getting quite a good exit, or I wouldn't say exit, actually a good entry, but losing a bit on the exit. And the first lap I've done is a 58.2, so still about 6 tenths to find, half a second to find. Where a track this short is not going to be easy whatsoever. So trying to get a good line this time through here, really sweeping out wide, and let's see if I get a good exit. I definitely get a very good exit on this occasion. I know there's a lot of time in the last sector as well, so going to this left-hander, really have to maximize the entry and the exit as well, going a little bit deep, and that is going to give me a track invalidation as expected. But as I always do in my videos as well, I really encourage people to keep on persevering. If you get an invalidation in the first sector, just to keep on going, because the more laps you do, the better understanding you have of exactly where you're losing this time. You can see here getting a better last sector this time, still a few areas, but going across the line, that would have been a 58.1, so not too far away now, and I can really see where I can be making up this time. So my third lap in a row, despite an invalidation, getting some time on the entry, really being a bit more committed this time, going very wide, taking a very tightest line, but we're actually getting, it didn't look particularly great, but I got a very good exit coming off that corner. This is this corner where I can really make up a lot of time, so sacrifice a little bit of speed to get a better entry, not running super wide this time. You can see in the mid-apex we've just gained a ton of time there. This time, can we hit the apex on this occasion? Yes, we do. Are we going to run wide? Yes, we do. But we're over 3 tenths up now, and this is looking really good. In fact, going into the last corner, I always got a good entry. Do I get a good exit? I get quite a good exit. I gained some time on the entry as well. And going across the line, what is this going to be? It's a 57.7 within my third lap with a setup on. And yeah, that was pretty good. And when I achieved that, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not going to just beat this world record, I'm going to beat it by quite a margin, because I know that Sam's time, that's the legit one. The ones ahead aren't legit. I'm only really focusing on the one with no assists as well. So I thought to myself, you know what, there's another 2 or 3 tenths in this. And I think when you get into that mindset, it then becomes very easy to then start overdriving because sometimes the best laps look like they're not really putting any effort in, and I think I just really got into my head that no, it's just going to come very easy. I'm going to push really hard to get a super lap out, and I think that was kind of a dangerous mentality to have, because when you have that, you tend to just overdrive and overthink things. And from this point onwards, so I did that 57.7, but then I just couldn't really hook it up. I get a very good exit off here, and I remember this lap. I remember, you know what, this is going to be such a good lap now here, because it always 2 tenths up. We're on for 0.5 right now, and really carrying a lot of speed as well, and gaining even time in the entry and the exit, staying nice and tight here. They're going into the top of the hill. This we went very wide there. You can see we've lost a tenth on the apex, but we are still on track. If I get a good last corner to break this world record, they're going into here, clunking the inside curb, and you can just see we've just lost all that time, and I thought that was going to be the lap, but we do improve the time still as well, 57.7. But now the problem is, I've had such a good first sector. It's always such a pain when you've had one very good sector and then 2 bad sectors, because you just know you're going to have to drive that sector completely perfectly. I'd rather have 3 7 out of 10 sectors than 1 10 out of 10 and the other 6 out of 10 or something like that. You just know, especially for the first sector now, I know that I have to beat that in order to have a chance. But if I can't match it, like you can see here, I know that if I could just get myself to that last sector, then I have a great chance of really beating this time quite comfortably. But go through here, going a little bit wide. I'm gaining some time on the exit here, so we are going to beat the time. Coming across it is a 0.6, but is it a fast enough 0.6? The answer is no. There is still a few thousandths left in this arm, and that was actually invalidated, in fact, so that wasn't even a valid lap from what I remember. But here now, I'm definitely overdriving a bit and just trying to carry too much speed, and this track is very punishing. If you just run out wide slightly, like here, you just got to lose. Look at the time we've lost. We've lost 2 to 3 tenths just in that corner, and at this stage, I was starting to become quite frustrated, and I thought to myself, considering I got up to this pace in 3 or 4 laps after I put on the setup, and I've done about another 10 laps here, and I just haven't been able to beat it whatsoever. And I think it's just a case of really just overdriving, especially for this first sector. I was just trying so hard to just match my time, but I can just continuously, I just kept on being a tenth down. But I knew if I could just get to this last sector, like I'm under a tenth here, then you'll be able to see this is the place where I can gain the time. And that's why I say again, even when I was down in this first sector, just to keep going on your laps, because you'll then get a really good muscle memory of exactly where you need to brake, where you need to improve. You can see this is so much more aggressive, and look at the time we have gained on this exit as well. This is looking very good. It is a 0.700, so still not enough for this world record, which I think is like a 692 or something like that. But we are getting closer, and as I say before, once you hit a certain lap time, you will just find yourself getting into the rhythm of that so much more. But you just got to keep persisting, and then eventually it will work out for you. And you can see again, turning on the ghost here, gaining some time on the entry, but then losing it on the exit again. It is just a very tough decision which part of the corner you want to be fastest in. Into here, trying to get a good apex through here, but not gaining too much time. I know, especially for the last corner, this is the place where I really could gain the most time. So taking on quite a wide entry, but getting a very good exit. And like I said, once you start hitting those lap times, you'll find yourself kind of plateauing sometimes. You'll just keep on hitting the same lap time over and over again. So I knew it was important to try and get this done as quickly as possible, because the longer this goes on, the more of my driving pattern kind of sets in and the harder it's going to be. But on this exit, we got such a good exit on this occasion. This now looks like it could be the lap where everything will count. So we're a 10th up already with time to gain this last sector. Let's see how we do for this Titanic, using it all on the exit, and it isn't a validation. It isn't a validation. And man, I was so frustrated right now. I just thought, is there any way that I'm actually going to be doing this now? But I'm still going to continue. I still want to know if I can gain time in this last corner. So I'm going to absolutely send it. Even invalidated that as well, but lost time on the exit. And I would not even go in and improve our lap as well. So just shows how quickly everything can just completely change. But you can see we're about 5/10ths up, or sorry, 500ths up here, but we lose it on the exit. The delta is 0.002 of a second. We improved by 1,000th of a second. Absolutely nothing, and this was aggravating right now. This is so frustrating. But now we have a very nice lap coming on. Done quite a few laps for this one, harder than I thought, but coming in to turn one, this is all or nothing now. It's going into it slightly down on the delta in the straight line, but braking very hard. You can see very aggressive on the brakes here, and really good through this left-hander. So it's still up in the delta, really maximizing this. Let's see if we get a good exit. Don't get quite the exit as I did on my PB lap so far, but again, I knew there was a lot of time to gain in this last sector, so really maximizing it again. This time using all the track, not running super out wide. And you can see we definitely gain time on the exit of this corner, making sure we hit the apex on this occasion. A bit of a slide going into there, so we have lost time. We're still 0.5 down. Well, delta's just changed. We're about 2/10ths or 200ths down. Going into this last corner, braking very hard, really aggressive, and it got such a good exit this time. And this is now potentially that as we get the DRS crossing a line. It is a 57.671, just about enough for the legit world record on here. And man, that was actually harder than I thought. I know the potential is there for 4 or 5, but such a frustrating track. There's so many corners where you have to absolutely nail it. But I'm going to show the setup now. I feel that is the legit #1 time, because the guys ahead are either using assists or they're using the replay glitch. But my setup was pretty similar to what sounds like. I made my roll bars a bit stiffer just to stop it, the back end, from sliding out in the high speed corners. But that is it. We managed to do it. I'm very happy with that. Inspired by the weekend's GP, which was very entertaining to watch. Thank you so much for the support on my channel recently. It means absolutely everything, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.